Okay. Test, test, test. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear. Loud
Oh,
and clear.
yeah. All right, everyone. Well, we are back. Haven't posted in a bit, but we've been in the trenches specifically going over a little bit of that today with our guy Steve here. Steve, would you mind giving everyone a little background as to how we ended up meeting, what you do, what we helped you do? Just, a little bit of the background.
Yeah, so now I own, when I met you guys, I didn't, but I own a like online education coaching style business. But I came in contact with you and Liam. Basically, that was like, if I did probably January or December of this year.
Yep.
Uh, I was starting a coaching and like online ed program from scratch essentially, but I had no following. Like Instagram with 1,000 followers, friends, family, and like girls from college. Like
Mm,
never monetized anything. And so I found you guys on YouTube because like a big mess, like the message that you guys said surrounding like all of your messaging for me in the beginning was like, uh, if you have like the knowledge and the product, you make like super niche organic looking content. You don't need to get like millions and millions of views to resonate with people. And so I was like, okay, that beats what I had already tried for like 3 months, which was like daily posting on Instagram and
mm.
like being lucky to get like a follower a day, which was just like not sustainable at all. So yeah, that's how I came to you guys, and then the rest is history. We can go into that a little bit more deeper.
Yeah, I guess right off the bat we could get into like the meat and bones of like starting from complete zero, no clients, no existing coaching business, no followers to what did you rip the last couple months?
Yeah, so like when I started, I'd never even sold anything on the internet. Like I'd never taken a dollar on the internet.
That's still crazy to me.
Yeah,
Where
ever.
compared to where we're at now, that's crazy.
Yeah, yeah. So you just want me to go through like last months or whatever?
Yes, you August and September because it's October. It's mid October right now.
Yeah. So August we did, I want to say like 66,000 in sales and revenue collected, and then in September we hit 80.
That's so
Uh,
fucking cool.
yeah, no, it's dope. It's
From
really
zero, it's so fucking cool.
it's really cool. But the cool thing too is like, because now I'm obviously like a damn near as like a Jehovah's Witness about this to other people. Because I'm like, anytime I see somebody that I feel like is good at their craft, but they don't have any semblance of an online presence in whatever they do, I'm like, I'm like a Jehovah's Witness about it. I'm like, dude, you have to be able to find a way to like sell this on the internet. And so what I always tell people is like whenever I talk to my friends or anybody about the numbers, I'm like, but you don't just charge that. Like you have
Yeah,
to be good. You
yeah.
don't just like rip fat months because you decided one day you were going to do it. Like the product, the offering, the program, the everything that you sell has to be good. Because like one of the things that I've noticed is like a lot of these guys do anything. They get a semblance of like, let's take like a fitness guy, for example. Like they get a semblance of a presence like on ground, like they train guys locally or something like that. And
Hmm.
then they're like, oh, I could rip this online. And they think they make like an Excel sheet and a few like throwaways and are wondering why they can't rip like crazy sales over the course of a month. It's like you get out of it what you put into it. Like you can't just decide one day you're going to rip online sales and just think it's going to come in. Like you got to build it, like and actually know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's weird where I would say it's a little bit of both because there is a semblance of product to it, but I feel a better way of putting it is like you it's not that you need to have a really great like built product. You just need to understand your thing well. That's all it is. Like that's probably a better way of putting it where it's like when you understand your thing well, the content comes out easy and the client results come easy. But if you have like a really polished and pretty product, but you don't know what you're talking about, then like it all like the fabric of the business is in shambles.
Yeah, and so that's yeah, I guess that's you put it in better words than I did. But like yeah, part of it is like you have to know at least a semblance of what you're talking about. You don't need to be like the expert like 10
Yeah.
million Instagram follower like god in the space whatever you're doing. But you have to have a semblance of knowledge, and then the the reason I bring that up is like my product offering, my program month 1.
Mm,
versus like what it is now is completely different, because when you're selling people in, you sell them in the beginning on much more consultative basis. Like
yeah.
you spend more one-on-one time with people in the beginning. And then as you get people into the program, you get 5 customers, 10 customers, 15 customers, you start seeing what's resonating with these people more. And then
Yeah.
build out your curriculum a little bit better. And then it becomes like way, way, way more turnkey.
Yeah, that's one thing we noticed too, is that a lot of people, it's like the classic thing of like this happens even in software too, where people will be like really get into the engineering and the technology and then be like, hey bro, no one fucking wants this. Yeah. When it's like it's crazy and it's counterintuitive, because you think like, no, I need to build something good to sell people, which is correct. But the thing is that that notion is correct, but how you do it is not by pre-building, it's building along with the customers and getting them the outcome. So it's weird where it's like every client you get, the clients tend to get results faster, because you're not building like it's not like consulting or just like, therapy anymore. You're building like a protocol where perform these exact actions and these steps and you will get the outcome.
Yeah, no, it's a good point. And that's why, like, this is on YouTube, I'm assuming. Like, where's this?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's like if someone's watching, like, I think I'm an interesting, like, person to talk to about it, because I came from, like, no following, no anything. And when I first talked to you guys, I was like, oh, let me build my product first. And then I'll,
I
like,
remember that.
go
I
with.
remember you were before you like wanted to post. I think I vaguely remember you talked about like, yeah, I want to build. What should I build the curriculum around first? And I was like, no, bro, you don't do it. No.
Yeah, and so like people are like, oh, let me build the product first, and like I am here to save someone like 3-4 months of pain and heartache, like building the perfect product. Like what you build prior to having a bunch of
Wrong.
customers will be the worst product ever. Like
Yeah.
the only way you build like a good curriculum and a good program for coaching, online ed, whatever you're doing, is like you have to get people in the ecosystem as fast as humanly possible. You have to get somebody to give you money for your brain and time. And then the curriculum will come naturally as
Yep.
you take those people through it.
Yeah, because one thing I've heard someone mention recently is that like a lot of people, they build products for themselves and not actually their customers. And when you start thinking about it like that, where it's like when you want to pre-build your product, it's actually just mental masturbation, because you want to build the perfect thing that you would buy. But it's like newsflash, people are gonna have different problems than you.
Yeah. And I think that like one of the biggest hiccups for someone trying to do like what we do is they can't take their own perception of what their knowledge of the product is
Yep.
out of it. And so, for example, if someone's making a fitness offer, I'll just keep using that one.
Yeah.
If someone's making a fitness offer, they have a top 1% baseline knowledge of fitness compared to the general public. And so if they make the product for themselves,
It's gonna be horrible.
it's going
The
to be horrible.
lexicon is gonna be wrong. The order of thinking, like
Yeah.
when you understand macros and shit, and like all the micro details, how you explain it is literally gonna go right over a beginner's head.
Yeah, because the stuff that you think is interesting in your expert or intermediate to above average level position
Yep.
is not what your customer's baseline knowledge is going to be. Like one of the biggest things that I've seen is like I had to like dumb down and
Yes.
then build like progression through the program, because the stuff that I thought was going to hit really hard for people was not what hit hard at all. It was like the basic stuff that I felt like was a snooze fest for me. But like your customers are coming to you as the expert. They have the kindergarten, middle school, high school
Yep.
level version if you're like a PhD in your
Yeah.
whatever your field is.
Liam and I were having a conversation about this yesterday. It's like it's the equivalent of, how like when you get a car, you never read the user's manual because it's like jargon and it's like going over every single like micro technical aspect of how the engine works and everything. It's like there's a reason no one reads the user manual.
Yeah.
This is a perfect example of that. Like, imagine if the user manual was the only way that you could figure out how to use the car, and it was like written like that. Everyone would like it'd just be a fucking nightmare.
Oh, yeah. And I think that was a big thing of like I think why like you like all three of us got along so well so early on was like the way that you guys position even your offer when I was being sold, right? Like when I was being like sold was there wasn't these like foo-foo promises. There wasn't this like all this big fancy jargon about like an online product and sales that like went way over my head. It was like sometimes I think that the best sales people in the world or like intelligence of people in the world is like people who can take a complicated product and like dumb it down to kindergarten level and make that make sense to the masses. And
Mm-hmm.
so for me, it was like when I came in, it was like, oh, like within like 2 days, I was like, oh, I can do this. It's just input, input, input. I
Yep.
do that over time. Output is inevitable. Like
Yeah.
it is like it's not if it's going to work. Like I have the blueprint that it does work as long as I work.
Yeah.
And like when I was
You just have to
able
fill in the like,
yeah,
you literally like daily input tasks. That's
yeah,
literally all it is.
yeah. But so much of it, it's actually interesting. And I know this is kind of off topic, but I said this because I referred like another one of my buddies to you
Yeah.
guys. He joined the program too. Uh, and like one of the things I explained to him that was so interesting about like what you guys do was so much of it was curriculum. And
Mm-hmm.
so much of it was like, oh, like these guys know what they're talking about. I see it. I went through their process. They clearly know what they're doing. But
Mm-hmm.
the other side of it too was like, I just needed, because it was so new to me, it was seeing that it is possible and being exposed to people that do something that I had a kindergarten level education on. This was like being exposed to like proximity to not just like YouTube, but like everybody else in the group that were like ripping, where it was like, if I was just doing this alone and just watching YouTube videos or something, every problem
It's not
that
the
came up,
same.
I'd be like, oh, maybe my situation's different. Maybe my situation's unique. And it's like, no. Like, like there are hundreds of people, thousands of people that are ripping 5 figures, 6 figures, some
Yeah.
7 figure months, doing the exact stuff you want to do. You just don't know how to do it yet. And that was
Yeah.
like, okay, once I got exposure to those people, I was like, oh, this isn't like, these aren't some savants that like
Yeah.
they just like
Oh
have a
no.
better brain
No.
than me. It's like not to say you're not
No.
smart.
No. 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 I'm agreeing with you that like you know that the bell curve meme.
Yeah, yeah.
The bell curve meme where it's like the midwit and then the caveman and the wizard agree
It's
on
like the
everything.
idiot, the midwit, and then like the Jedi on the other end of the spectrum.
Yeah, the caveman and the wizard agree on everything, and then the midwit's just like getting all like way too complicated with it, and then the caveman and the wizard are ripping $80,000 a month, and
Yeah,
it's just that simple. It's like being the caveman and the wizard understand that being stupid is smarter.
yeah, yeah. And I think that like I came in as the midwit because I was like, oh, I know enough. I need to build curriculum. I need to build this. I need to build up my following. And it was like, no,
Yeah.
that's like that's the midwit way to do it.
Yeah, it's crazy too because like you can get conversions while you build the following. People think it's one or the other. They're actually not. They're not mutually exclusive. In reality, it's just like no. Like followers are like a byproduct of you just expanding reach. That's literally it. If you were to if no one were to ever know their own follower account, everyone would be making way more money. I'll put it that way.
For sure. That was like the biggest. That was like I know I keep hammering it because like that was just like for me is like I had seen some of your guys' other testimonials and there was dudes that had like big followings, and so in my brain I was like, oh, maybe that's it. And then I kept digging and I was like, oh, actually, like there's dudes in here that are ripping that were like
Yeah.
not viral, you know.
How many followers did you get up to now? Ever since starting at scratch?
So it's Scratch, right, which was like sub 1,000 just from like being on Instagram for
Yeah, just like class like your people you knew
yeah,
from
family, people from
from
college,
from real life.
yeah, real life, which is like the other thing too. So to answer your question, 1,000 something, maybe like 900 to 1,000. Now I'm at like, let's see, I think it's like close to 6,000 on Instagram, and then like maybe 700 on YouTube. But
That's so fucking crazy, dude.
yeah,
700 on YouTube and only 5 or 6K on IG, ripping almost a mil a year. It's
but
hard.
yeah, it's funny. I actually, I know. We'll talk about if you're talking about anything on the internet, hormozi is going to come up. But like,
Yeah,
hormozi has a thing where he talks about like the more niche the content is, the less you have to go crazy viral because it
yeah,
won't go crazy viral. but the intent of the viewer on the other side is way higher. So like if you look at my Instagram, it's like my baseline views of my reels are like 1,500 to 3,000 views.
Mhm.
And then YouTube, my videos get like 500 to 1,500 views or whatever else. But those views, because my stuff is so niche down, they hit super hard with my audience. And so, like, I think social media now, 2024, is so much less about going viral and so much more about like carving out your niche. And like the more educated you are on that, the more the views and followers just come, because it's like they're coming to the video specifically for what you're going for. And so like the attention span's higher. They're not like bouncing on TikTok from like video to video to video and they forget about you in 2 seconds. Like those style of like niche down views just resonate way harder with people too.
Yeah, the biggest thing with like the more niche your content is, like the more the higher intent it's going to be. Like for example, if you can even apply this to other types of products too. Like let's say you were like like a weight loss, you were selling a weight loss supplement, and you were trying to only run YouTube organic, which you could totally do. One way that you could like rip right off the bat is if you did extremely hyper niche and SEO optimized stuff on YouTube, or even TikTok. It's like it doesn't matter the platform. It's just about like when you make it search intent oriented, what you end up getting is people that have a higher retention rate, higher click through rate, higher booking purchase rate, everything. Versus if you just made like 10 ways, if you made a YouTube video 10 ways to lose weight fast, garbage.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, it's kind of like I think the best illustration is like if one of those annoying street interview YouTubers tried to
Yeah,
sell a high
no
ticket
chance.
product, they have millions of viewers, but like their entire income is based off of just like ad revenue and whatever else from being viral. Those people would crash and burn trying to actually sell a product
Yeah,
that was like mid to high ticket, which like
completely different type of sales process where it's not even just educational, but it's it's showing depth of understanding. And that's why like the whole, like the pre-selling slash, case study video is so OP, because it just it brings someone all the way from complete stranger to literally ready to buy in an hour and a half max.
Dude, I still 8 months later am running the same variation
Mhm.
of the VSL, like the case
Yep.
study video that you guys have in the program. Is it still in like is it the same one?
Still exactly the same. Still
Dude,
exactly the same.
the thing is a money printer. Like
Yep.
that is like I think that alone was like worth it, just having the
Mhm.
structure of, and that I've done like 2 or 3 variations of it, just like making it better at times, but the PowerPoint, the process, the loom is the same every single time.
Yeah.
And it's like 30 minutes and the average view duration on YouTube isn't great, but the people that are my target customer eat that thing up and
Yeah,
they
they
don't,
rotate. Yeah, it filters the right people.
and
When
they're
it's boring,
all
it does better when it's boring. That's what's crazy about it.
dude. And it's like because I put like good game in,
Mhm.
the quality of that info is really good if it reaches the right person. And it's so funny, dude, because like once we get on sales calls, half of them are like I am not kidding you. Half of the people on my sales calls, and my offer is 3 grand, and like half the people on my sales calls, they're basically ready to swipe their card when they get on the call.
Yeah,
And part of that's because like the reason that VSL, that like greeting video, what do you call it? Greeting video?
pre-selling case
The pre-selling
study.
video. The reason it's so powerful is it's not just giving them like really good value, but it also like it's just 20 to 30 minutes of just pure subconscious trust building with the
Yep.
prospect. Like if they get through the 30 minutes, you're not a scammer, you're not a course seller in their mind, like in their perception. Like there is no way, because if you're selling something on the internet, right? It's he's a course seller, he's a scammer, right? That's like everybody. But it's like that VSL just immediately squashes all of that,
Yep.
because it's like if they got through 30 minutes, you know what you're talking about. You got their attention for 20, 30 minutes, whatever else. And then they decided to book a call. Like
Yep.
they're already sold by that, and they should be. So
Yeah. It's weird too, because another thing that we have another guy right now. His name's Caden, and he's like right on the precipice of like really, really getting it. Like we had a call this morning in the group, and he's like right on the precipice of just like clicking. He's taking his like 10th, 12th sales call and offer. He got his like first deposit, and he's like right there, right when you start getting like the sales call reps and you got the pre-selling video down. You remember that moment where it's like, you're at like the 15th call and you're just like, God damn it, why is it not working? What the fuck? And then like when you finally get the discovery process right, what was like, oh, yeah, that's probably a good question. What was the moment where it was like things still felt like there was like holes in the bridge? What was the moment where everything all got connected, clicked, and it was just like
Oh, yeah.
wildfire?
Oh, dude. Yeah. So my first VSL that I ever
Yeah.
made, like my first video, I thought it was good. It wasn't enough actionable steps. So it was like a lot more just like broad
Mm,
because I thought that I would like appeal to the masses. And so I had
mm,
everything else built. I was getting on sales calls, but most of the time I was like convincing them that they needed it and like
mm.
needed to take a jump as opposed to like because my VSL wasn't like strong enough, compelling enough emotionally, whatever else to actually be like, oh, this guy knows what he talked about. It was more like curiosity grabbing. And
Mm.
so if they booked the call, it was low intent. It was like, oh, maybe I'll get on the phone with them. But once I made like the second variation, because you looked at mine early in the program, we're like, dude, you got to put like a little bit more juice in it, like a little bit more like actionable steps, like give them some stuff for free. And then be like, but we have way more for you. The
Yeah.
second, so I was going like 1 for 10 on sales calls. Like,
Mm.
but that's like everybody who's never sold something online. Like,
Yeah, it's like it's a shit
buckle
show
up,
right out the gate.
like
Yeah.
buckle. You're gonna talk to people with no teeth. You're gonna have
Yeah.
no idea how to like. You're gonna get people that are like, I just got out of prison that just like want to talk to somebody that's like all they do all day is just like book meetings with anyone that they could get on the phone with because they're bored and they don't have a job.
Yeah.
And so part of it was like hammering down like the booking criteria questions on the Calendly or whatever else. But dude, the second I put in that VSL and like changed it a little bit, it went live. And then like the next 5 days, I ripped like 5 straight sales with no no's. And it was like overnight, like the bridge just connected. And so for me, back then, that's $3,000 offers. Back then we were like I was thrilled month one to do. I was pumped when I hit like 9K in a month. I think
Yeah.
that's like month 1 or 2, and then it was like in 5 days I ripped like 15K in 5 days, and it was like I can't even explain it.
Yeah.
It was like once you got that hit of like, oh my gosh, like this works.
Yeah.
It was just like the world just shattered. Like
The joke that Liam and our buddy FaZe have is that it's feels you're trapping programs like that first moment when like you start closing left and right and the cash velocity in just like 5 or 10 X's in that week when everything like finally clicks. It There's no other word for it other than like it literally feels like digital drug dealing where just like everything like links up and you're just like, oh, I'm so fucking cool.
yeah, no, it was for sure, and I'm obviously like still like super grateful for it. Like even still,
Yeah.
I mean, now I have like a closer that helps too, and then obviously
Mhm.
we split it a little bit, and we've got like setters and stuff that kind of like help out. But it's like even still, like even what is this? Almost 10 months in, I'm still fired up when they come through. Like still,
Yeah.
obviously it's less. Like it's like digital heroin. Like you get the first close, you'll chase that dragon forever, and then you'll
Yeah.
chase the dragon when you have a 2 close day, and you'll feel it again. And then it's like then the 2 close days, like we do that once a week, whatever.
Yeah, like it starts getting crazy where like you literally get to a point where you're just like, I mean, even right now, if you were to go down to like a 50K month, you'd just be like depressed, bro.
Yeah.
It's just like you're
Yeah.
like, oh my god, how things have changed. The standards are so different. Where now it's like, oh, if I do 50K in a month, I'm a failure.
Yeah, there is a little bit of that, but it's also like I know we're talking. Like, I am talking so much more about the numbers side. Like I don't
Yeah,
want to. I don't. I would be remiss if I didn't say like the part that we're not talking about because this is obviously we're talking much more about customer acquisition on like so far. But like we also the actual product is incredibly good. Like it's
Hmm.
incredibly
Yeah.
good. And people will text me and be like, dude, you changed my life. Like often. And
Yeah.
so it's like I think the best businesses in the world are businesses that make a ton of money and the customers are just as happy that they paid you 3 months after paying you as they were that the day when they were emotionally fired up and ripped.
Yep.
Like I still am like it's so because then it becomes so much easier if you actually have a good product, then your testimonials become really good. It's
Yeah.
like you can't fake this with you. Like the
Yeah.
conversation you and I are having right now, you can't fake that. Like you could not elaborately fake that like, oh, let me just get a UG like a user generated content creator and like have him talk through the jargon and the numbers and whatever else. Like you couldn't do it. And so the more you super serve the people early, the more video testimonials you get. And so then your target market goes on YouTube, Instagram, everywhere else. And they see, like, oh, that dude looks like me. He hired Steve and he got X result. Like, then you just hit them with like 6, 7, 8 of those. It's like, why wouldn't they buy?
Yeah. It's I feel like the whole thing is just very interesting. Like seeing it like happen so many times now, where it's just like it's always the same process over and over. Where it's literally just like you just need traffic to a good informational case study video, and you just start like kind of like we started the conversation of like you build the product along with your first clients and customers, and then as you get them results, you just like keep pumping them out. Like I don't even remember on our YouTube channel. I don't even remember the last time we've posted a video where it's like even like posting about like how to do something. It's just like no, you can kind of just keep posting testimonials, and then you get to 200 people inside your program, and that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's kind of like people are so over advertised too now
Yeah,
that the corny oh, we did X in 90 days, and it's you telling the story as the business owner.
yeah,
I can come into you, I can come into you come into my ecosystem and I'll give you X result in 90 days or your money back. And it's like that doesn't sell. What sells is a human being that says, I paid X amount, or I paid someone money and
hmm,
I'm thrilled about it. That is what sells because on ads, on anything, you could see it on online advertising anywhere on YouTube. Look at anyone who sells anything at scale. They'll always say the best performing ad copy, the best performing organic, the best content that generates sales is user generated reviews and
yep,
testimonials that talk about how great the product is.
yeah. On the note of like different things being the finishing factor, what would you say was inside what Liam and I have? What would you say was like the most useful, like one singular piece for you specifically?
Mm, I hit on the proximity of other people doing it. That part was big. The I'm if you put a checklist in front of me of stuff to do that will get me from current result to dream state and I just have to do the inputs, that's all I wanted. And so your guys checklist of
Hmm.
do this, do this, do this, do this, like do this on IG, do this on YouTube, optimize your page here, down to like the stupid shit like hey, here's the microphone you should buy. Here's the camera you should buy to make your content a little bit better. Here's the Amazon lapel mic that's like $55. Order this one. And it was just like, okay, boom, check it off, go to the next thing. Like
Yeah,
that part resonated with me. But probably the biggest thing was that we already hit on it was the structure of the VSL PowerPoint of like, this is how the video needs to look. This is what you need to say. Step by step, bar for bar, fill in the slides and go. That was everything for me because it took any guesswork and any doubt that would be in it out and just was like, dude, just do the work and it will come. That was the
yeah,
part.
and it's kind of funny too how that's kind of all every you say like any sort of coaching or consulting, anything like that, any offer where you can't like do it hands on for them because there's like this type of stuff, especially when it's related to organic content. It's like we can't do it for you. Like we just have to tell you not exactly just what to do, but the right word for it, really, honestly, is like it's a protocol. Like perform these exact actions in this sequence, and you get X outcome. And it's kind of interesting to see it happen over and over and over time, and it becomes. And you'll probably know what I mean by this. I feel like another thing that's interesting about this whole model is that the difficulty curve, or like the learning curve, it goes like high in the beginning, and as time goes on, it gets lower, 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 lower. Where like you do less and you get so much more out of it. So another thing I would say too to like anyone who's watching is that also like the first 30 to 60 days is probably the like not even most difficult part, but it's just like you just do the most stuff, and then after that it's all compounding returns from there.
Yeah, and it's like anything of value.
Mm-hmm.
It's not. So a big thing for me was like I'd owned other businesses before too. And so I was already familiar with the idea of like paying for something to consolidate the learning curve and paying the lack of competency tax faster. So
Yeah.
I'll always say, could I have figured this out in 2 years, 3 years? Probably. But I figured it out in 2 months because I had the inputs and outputs. And
Yeah.
so, or maybe I wouldn't. Maybe I would have just crashed and burned and had to go get a job after. I don't know. Maybe. But like, that's the thing is like, could you figure it out on your own in 2 years, 3 years, 4 years? A lot of pain, suffering, and like, sure. But what does that look like? Like, I was going to
Yeah.
suffer.
Is it actually worth it?
Yeah. Yeah. And so that was a big thing for me too, was I was confident by the time I had talked to you guys that, yeah, this is what I'm going to do. There was no selling at that point. It was just like, yeah, this is the inputs I need to do to
Yeah.
with that. And it's funny because
Um,
it's like the same tone that I sell my own product with, which is kind of funny.
yeah. Yeah. It's another good thing about this whole system is that and one thing I appreciate about it a lot, and I know especially like our sales reps and Setter did as well, was that you don't have to start from zero with every prospect, if that makes sense. Like they are coming in with like 7 to 10 hours of context, depending how much time they've spent, but they're usually coming in with several hours of context as to you, what you do and everything. So by the time they get on the call, the conversation isn't like, me going like, hey, my name is Vince. Nice to meet you. Here's what we do. It's like they come in, they know everything. And it's more talking about them.
Yeah, and that's the interesting thing about selling something online, which I think is not talked about very much, but needs to be talked about more, is like so much of it is the positioning of yourself prior to the sales call
Yes.
so that you're not selling on the sales call. Because like we sell a $3,000 product on one 45-minute Zoom
Mm-hmm.
over and over and over again. If you didn't have the processes in place that you guys gave me, like even down to like, here's the Calendly questions to ask while they're self-booking meetings to make sure that your calendar doesn't fill with 10 meetings a day with just people with no teeth in their mouth that just got out of prison and like everything else. Like
Yeah.
even that stuff, right? Like even that stuff is like everything that you guys helped me set up was the stuff that gets me in front of the right people, but also like I don't have to sit on 15 sales calls a day to sell one. And so what happens is like when a good opportunity comes on, I'm so dialed in mentally when I'm on the phone with them, as opposed to like when I was attempting to sell even remotely something
Mm-hmm.
without the process and protocol. By the time I got in front of a good person, I had already talked to 10 absolute idiots that were dead broke prior, that like when the good person got on, I was so like emotionally drained that I was like, I can't even do this. I can't even bring myself.
Yeah. That's one thing too. A lot of people think that like the hardest part of any business with sales calls actually isn't booking calls or lead generation. It's the lead filtering. That's actually like that, because that's the one place people can lie. And it's always like trying to structure your thing to like get people, only the right kind of person would be interested. So long story short, like the biggest problem isn't actually getting book calls and like getting the initial traffic and interest in the first place. It's the filtering of it. That's actually like the biggest,
Yes.
learning curve, and like the most effort goes into the filtration of traffic.
Dude, I could get 15 sales calls booked a day if I wanted to.
Yeah.
Just open the floodgates. I could fill my calendar double booked every single day.
Yeah.
But it's like the worst quality ever. And that's something that nobody talks about in the beginning, which like I fixed that problem in a week with you guys. That would have taken me 5 months to figure out because I was just so obsessed with getting meetings. And it would never even have crossed my mind to be like, oh, I need to dial in the questioning a little bit more so that, because I would just be afraid that that didn't work. Like, oh, I'm only going to have 2 meetings a day or 1 meeting a day. It's like,
Yeah.
that's what you want.
Yeah, it's like you want one. I would rather have one layup call per day than have 20% maybe, and that's still. It's funny because the 20% maybes is still technically more opportunities to get cash collected and make more. But I'd rather have that one layup call a day.
Dude, for sure. And it's crazy because we're talking about sales, so I can say this and not sound like a pompous asshole. Like, there's been 2 separate times where we've gone 9 for 9 with yeses card swiped on calls. 2 separate times where we 9.
You mean like 2 separate weeks where it was like 9 for 9?
Two separate. It was like, no, one of them was in like 4 days. And we sold 9 in 4 days. And it was
Was that when you texted me and you were like, bro, 25K?
Yeah. And it was like 9 straight people were like, yeah, I'm going to hitch my wagon to this guy without a single no. Like, if you go to any person who closes or does anything online and say like, hey, mid to high ticket offer, $3,000+ 9 straight yeses without a no, they would burn you like a witch. They'd be like, no, that doesn't exist.
Yeah, they'd be like that. No, that's impossible. It's like no, not 9 for 9 coaching offer.
Yeah, no, but it's about positioning. It's about like, you also, again, have to have a good product at some point. So in the beginning, you pay for the lack of product with your time.
Yes,
Like
yes, that's exactly. You remember we told you that too. Like in the beginning, it's time, and then later, it's like you finally have the whole thing built out, and you can be hands off.
Dude, my first customer got 2-hour-long one-on-one calls a week, which was the most insane thing ever.
It's pain, but it's so worth it to just get it done.
Because I could just like white knuckle that person to the result. If you get on the phone with them for an hour for 2 weeks, there's so much accountability that like they would have to be like a blubbering idiot to not get a result.
Yeah.
Then like the second customer was like, okay,
little bit more hands off. Yeah.
I'm gonna sell this second 1-hour-long call a week, and then that was like 2 through 5 got 1-hour-long call a week, and then a group call. So then it was 1 hour of my time served 5 of that.
Yeah.
And then it was like, okay, then I went to bi-weekly. Then I went to 30-minute one-on-ones, and then I went to bi-weekly, and then I just removed one-on-ones altogether after onboarding because the product offering got better.
Yeah.
Like the curriculum got better. But you don't get that point without doing the work with the one-on-one people in the beginning as you build out your messaging, your checklist, your offer, everything else. So it's super interesting. But I think if people accept that at this point, and they don't know, it's like, yeah, dude, in the beginning, you're going to be way more hands-on, but like, it's fun because you're giving people the desired outcome and building like a badass product that actually helps them.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you'll never get to 50K a month, 60K a month, 70K a month if you have a shit offer. Like you just won't, because eventually people will talk to each other.
Well, not only just that, it's also like we were just talking about like testimonials, where it's like the more testimonial interviews you get and everything, it just becomes you literally do less work. So like by doing it's weird how like everything with these kind of offers is like the more you front load the work with your initial clients, the less you can do later, because like you build the product and the protocol early, and then you get all those testimonials.
Yeah.
And it's like they just carry you forever. And then after that, it gets easier too, because people go like, they see, oh, this guy has X amount of tests. Like, look at all these other people that have done it, and the blueprint is sitting right in front of me. And that gets rid of any limiting belief that like I can't do this.
Yeah, no, it is for sure. And it's also like the thing that one of the things you told me in the beginning that was super helpful was you were like, when you're taking these beginning guys through step by step, write down every single question they ask you, every single thing you talk about. Like I just use like Fathom AI note taker, and like, and then I would just be like, okay, this person asked about X. I'm going to put that in the curriculum because like I'm going to make a Loom video about that because that will serve everybody else. And so by like the 5th person, sixth person, I was like, they would ask the same question. I'd be like, boom, here it is. Boom, here it
Yep.
is. Boom, here it is. And by the end of it, I have a school for mine, like
Yeah.
SKO school, you know. I know you know, but anyone that's not watching, like the school houses all of your like curriculum, whatever. It has like 70 something modules now.
Yeah, that's something too. Like a lot of people, I think coaching programs, they either make them too complex or they make them too simple. When all it actually is like you're making your own customized like Q&A Dropbox file. Is essentially what you're making. It's like a gigantic Q&A Dropbox file of just like, yeah, dude, it's like a software, but just made of like videos of you answering common questions.
Yeah, but it's like it seems redundant to you, but to your customers, it's like everything.
Yep.
That's amazing content because you're answering questions that they don't even know they have yet, and then when you answer them, you're like, oh, this guy knows exactly what I'm going through right now.
Yep.
This is such a robust offering, which is kind of funny, but good.
Yeah. Guess one of the last things we could hit on is anyone who's watching this right now, either on the fence of joining or just like genuinely interested in like what we do or anything. If you could give them any advice.
Yeah, I'm naturally a skeptic because I've bought enough things on the internet, and so I would say like general advice when buying anything, and this is like a rule of thumb for me in everything that I do now, is like if you're going to buy anything on the internet, if you're going to buy anything from somebody who even looks remotely like a guru, they better have results and results of not them talking about how great they are, but people like me who are like, dude, I'll get on a call with you for an hour because like you changed my life. Like that part is like the biggest thing. And so for me, it was like the skepticism that comes from purchasing anything on the internet. I would say like, you can't fake results at scale. Like you can't fake results. You can't fake like me coming on here and being like, here's my numbers. You can go on my Instagram and see everything that I'm talking about. You can see my clients' testimonials. You can see everybody's testimonials. So it's like at a certain point, like that's exactly what works. So if that's what works to get me, that got me like in your ecosystem, it's the same thing that's going to work for you when you're building your offering, like whoever's watching this. It's the exact same thing. And so that's a big thing for you. And then the like for your guys thing. And the other side for me is again, I don't know what you guys even charge now. I don't know if it's less. I don't know if it's more. But it's like I would have paid 3 times what it cost. Like I would have found a way knowing the result I was going to get now. So like, I just want to thank you and Liam because like I know we're homies now and whatever else, but like, dude, you guys legitimately changed my life. Like legit, like it's not just like some business stuff like foo-foos. Oh, I made more money. Like, dude, my entire lifestyle and quality of life has completely changed. And the thing I sell now is way more fulfilling emotionally too. Like I have people tell me every day, I make more money now than I ever have before. And I have people tell me every single day, like, dude, you changed my life. Like you changed. I have dudes' wives tell me that. Like
that's so G actually.
Yeah, it's dope. So like obviously it can be both. And everyone who says they're in business just to help people is a lie. Like it can be both. You can make money in a business that has a good product and offering and you can help people. Like that it can be both. And it needs to be both. Otherwise we'd all be volunteering at soup kitchens if we were all just doing this out of the kindness of our hearts.
Yeah, if every internet marketer or everyone else was just like if they were actually just about helping people, it's like and that was it. Like no self-interest at all. They'd be working at, literally soup kitchens is my favorite example as well. Another, the quote was, you can always trust a man looking out for his own interests. That's one of my favorite lines. You can always trust someone that's looking out for their own interests because you actually know what you're getting.
Yeah, there is something to that. Like,
yeah. Predictability over, like guessing and like praying what someone's going to do. I'd rather have predictability on that.
Yeah. And I think it resonates really well with my audience too. Like when I start sales calls, and I think that because people are so over marketed to and oversold to now, like everyone with a brain sees through the shit. Everyone knows they're getting on a sales call, even if you call it a consultation call or whatever else. Yeah. So like I start every call with like, hey,
strategy call.
Here's how this call is going to go. if I think it's a good fit at the end, based on the conversation and the questions that we go over on here, I will invite you into the program and then ask you to make a decision.
Yeah.
And like, if that doesn't resonate with someone, they were never going to buy.
Yeah, that's another thing too. Is like not trying to like grease the call bookings, because when you grease people onto call bookings with all like the like fluffy language about like free consultation, blah blah blah, like when you grease that too hard, you end up getting people that just want free, or like another one is like when you promise like, yeah, you get these bonuses on a call.
Yeah.
Like when you grease it too hard, then you get people that are booking the call for the free bonuses.
Yeah, and I think exactly. And people like, if you think about what the customer or prospect is going through on the other end. Like, they've seen you talk on your YouTube, Instagram, everything, everywhere else for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. They've consumed a bunch of your content, so they already know who you are, but you don't know who they are. And so it's like, when they go through the steps of taking 30 minutes, an hour out of their day to sit down and meet with you, they're already knowing that they're going to buy something. They're at least like, they know what it is. And if they
are coming on the call to buy something, all they're looking for on the call is make sure there's no like landmines they miss. That's it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know you gotta head out here soon and everything. So well, thank you for the call and everything, man.
Dude, absolutely.
Glad we could what is it? It's been 9-10 months now, and we're here.
It's been a good time.
Yeah, dude. It's been a good time.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
100%, bro.
Yeah.
Next time I'm out over there, we'll link.
Dude, for sure. Anytime.
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. You guys changed my life. I'll get on one of these whenever you want.
Hell yeah, dude. And for even though I'm a little bit dark right now, just because the lighting, like in California, like because at my office the sun literally just went past the fucking side of the building. For anyone watching, you can, if you're trying to join the same program that Steve is in and get accelerated results, you can hit the link in the description, and either myself, Liam, or one of our team members will speak to you.
Yeah, do it. Don't be a little bitch. Do it.
There we go.